Hey, what's up? It's Keith Kalfas. You see these rocks? Yeah, I'm Keith Kalfas. You see these rocks? Okay, this video is called How to Negotiate. And look down right here. This is a project. And you can also see I'm wearing flip-flop. Are these? That's not right. I should be wearing work boots. So, all right, come down close here. Tim Ferriss, the author of The 4-Hour Workweek, wrote an amazing article on his blog several years ago, and I see this happen in business all the time, and I want to know in the comments below if you see this happen. So some customers are very wise about negotiation, almost to the point where it's adversarial and unfair to you as the contractor. But the world of commerce isn't fair. The world of business, it's about sometimes what can I get, and that's all that matters. So if you're quoting a project for a customer, you might get emotionally excited. You see the big rock? This is the big rock. Well, the customer wants all these things done and you're giving them a quote, but your eye is on that big rock. Your eye is on the big thing that's the most expensive part of the project, or the thing that makes you feel excited. And the customer is telling you they want to get that done too. That's the one you're going to make the most profit on. That's the one that's going to be your bread and butter and feed your family. There's all these other things they want done too. This could be a $10, $20, $30, $50,000 job. I don't know what it is to you. It could be as small as a $5,000 job, a $2,000 job. But here's what they do. They keep flirting with the big thing and saying they want the big thing. And you're like, well, if I get the big thing in there, then that'll make all this worth it. And this is going to be a good job. And we're going to be happy. We're going to make the customers happy. We're going to be happy. We're going to make good money. I'm excited. But here's what a customer who's a master negotiator will do. They put that big rock in there and they say, well, if I get all this done, can you come down on the price a little bit, you know? And you say, well, hey, the big rock's in there. I'm covered. Sure. I can take this much off, or I can give you a discount, or whatever you're thinking, whatever your process is, that's what it is. Well, here's what the customer will do. After you're all agreed and you're all locked in, then the customer will come back and they'll take the big rock. Hey, we decided we don't want this anymore. They never wanted it in the first place. Now how much is the job going to be? And now you feel like the bottom fell out and you're like, oh, right? And that's what's the difference between bulk and itemized pricing. How do you circumvent this issue? Well, you don't give discounts on all this stuff. You act as if though that rock isn't even there. You price all this stuff accordingly to make your man-hour rate, your payroll, your profit margins, whatever type of profit first, whatever you use, and you put that in there. Or you have to have guts enough, or have some type of addendum or something in your contract, or verbally upfront with the customer that says, hey, now that you move that thing out of there, I got to bring these things all back up to normal price, or I can't do the job. How many times have you been stuck in a situation like that where you let the emotions get the best of you? Because I've been in it so many times that it kept me trapped, living in a tiny little one-bedroom apartment for 5 years with my wife doing coin laundry, afraid to walk outside, with my neighbor stealing my shoes twice off of my front porch. I was getting tickets on my truck because I had nowhere to park myself. It was not a fun life. And then I come back to the customer's property next month to do service again, and there's a brand new BMW in the driveway and a grand piano, and they're getting a $30,000 patio installed. These people do not care about me, folks. And I'm not saying you shouldn't care about them, but I'm saying there's a strategy behind this. I'm just playing. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Closed my first $10,000 job, and then a week later I closed a client on the spot in another city. Within 30 minutes of meeting am I closing for $22,000.
What's up, guys? This is Keith Kalfas. I'm excited right now. We're doing a case study video with my friend Brannon right now. And this guy's a young landscaper, 24 years old, who is about to do $1 million in 2021. He actually started his landscaping business watching my videos on YouTube. Then he came to my live event, and this was what, 2018 at my live event.
Yep.
And this dude's got motivation, he's got hustle, he's got so much energy, and I'm like even proud of this dude, and on track to do $1 million in hardscaping, landscaping, all around lawn care and landscaping in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Dylan Brannon, dude, what is up? And he's got some stuff he wants to share with you, but I want to hear your story, bro.
Absolutely.
'Cause this is inspiring. So tell me about your business and how you got started, man.
So I got started. You guys want to know how I got started? I started watching YouTube. That's where it all started. And who popped up on the videos first? It was you. I started watching your videos first, and I just loved the way that you connected through the camera. It was almost like you were talking to me in person, but you were on video. So I started watching your videos. I already had the idea. I knew I wanted to get into lawn, landscape, pavers, and trees, but I didn't know where to start. So I came across your videos, started watching them, and I just loved your energy and loved everything about what you were promoting through there. And I didn't know one thing. I didn't know nothing, how to operate chainsaws. I didn't know how to operate mowers or what equipment to use, or equipment to buy, trucks, trailers, nothing. I knew absolutely zero when I started about 3.5 years ago. And so when I watched that first couple of videos, I started getting the knowledge to basically start, to start making things happen. Come up with the name, come up with the logo, insurance, all the admin stuff, the business license, and I actually had all that stuff done. Logos, LLC, insurance, all that stuff before I even started. Like before I had one piece of equipment or one client or anything, I already had the administrative back-end stuff.
That's dope.
Done before I actually bought my first piece of equipment.
Now, how long from when you were doing lawn care and then some landscaping, what was the point where, because I ran into you at the GIE Expo,
yeah,
and you were like dialed in, focused, saying, no, I'm here to take the classes and get certified and doing pavers and all that. And then I noticed I saw you were at Grant Cardone's event, absorbing all his content. You're hanging out with guys like Tigran, and you just, tell me about that.
Okay. So
in the guts and to take the chance and leap up to the next level, how did you pull all that together?
Well, it started by taking the leap. When I watched your video of you, with your first event, promoting your first event to go to, you said on the video, you have to be here. You have to be here. I was watching that while I was driving over the bridge in my car, and I was thinking, this is a calling. So that's where it all started. I flew myself out to that event, and it was a life-changing experience. I needed that. That was I guess you could say, that was the start to knowing I need to put myself in the right environments around the right people, and then I will learn along the way. And so from that first event, I knew that it was possible. I could fly out somewhere, I could be all by myself and be a grown adult and meet people and learn things.
You were one of the youngest guys at the event. My event's the Marketing ROI Live Workshop, and there was some awesome heavy hitters in the room that were teaching how to automate the sales and marketing in your service business. And I remember Dylan in the front row taking notes, and I said nobody can record anything on camera, so we have cameras here. My guy Quentin Howell's filming, and he snuck the GoPro camera. He's filming anyways like a jackass, and I went by and I yanked the camera and I took the chip out, and he was like, but it just because I didn't want everybody else doing it. But then he came up to me and you apologized. It wasn't even about that. It was like, you're a rule breaker, bro. So what about the guys who want to get started or take their business to the next level, but they're just afraid and stuck? They're terrified of failure. Where I see a guy like you, you're breaking the rules and taking chances, and you're succeeding. Like you just bought this amazing truck. You're posting pictures on Instagram of the dump trailer and these beautiful jobs you're doing.
Yeah, I actually just bought another business too. I bought out another lawn care company and basically just added the clientele to mine, and had to get more equipment for my guys and bring on more employees, and a new secretary starting next week. So there's a lot of things going on with the lawn and landscaping side, but it was a tough start. But once I knew that there's no reward unless you take the risk, then I started to it's all about the circumstances too, because there's people that have kids, there's people that have responsibilities that they can't just take the risk and leave something behind, whether it's an animal or family or friends that they have to take care of or whatnot. For me, I don't have a wife or children or anything like that, so in my situation, I was able to just take as much risk as possible because in my mind, I'm like, if I lose everything, you know, what did I really lose? You know, I didn't risk my family or risk my, you know, friendships or anything like that. I just took the risk. And
but I also see you're taking calculated, educated risk. You're paying to go to like the 10X Growth Con. You're getting around guys who make, you know, 10 times the amount of money and have had all the setbacks and failures. You're breaking bread and eating meals and getting these life-changing conversations one-on-one, and you're working your ass off and going and investing your hard-earned money to go meet these people and take these courses and do all that, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple things behind that. They say that you are who you hang with, right? So if you're hanging around a bunch of drug dealers or a bunch of junkies, you're going to be a junkie. You're going to become a drug dealer. The force basically the energy that those environments bring is really bad when you put yourself around it, and you ultimately get sucked into that. So what I started to notice is I started to put myself around people like you and people that watched you and people like Tigran and Grant Cardone and people that wanted to change their life and get away from that lifestyle and get away from those types of people and those types of environments. That was a really big thing for me, was just realizing, you know, if I hang around the same people and hang around the same environments and I don't take the risk and go and leave and put myself in it, make myself uncomfortable, then I won't grow and I won't progress. So that was a really big thing. And once I started to realize that, put myself around your event and meet people there, go to the GIE, meet people there, met Tigran, put myself in that group, and the people that are doing, you know, 5-10 times more than me, it really started to, you know, eye open. Basically, your network is your net worth. So the bigger your network, the bigger your net worth. It just ultimately, you know, folds up to that, you know.
Dude, that's super dope. Yeah. And the jobs that you were starting out with, 3 to 7 grand, and then you grew up to 15 to 30.
To 30.
And what are the larger size jobs you're taking now? You know, turning people's backyards into these beautiful scapes.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
So the first job I actually started with, this is before I had any piece of equipment. I had zero money, and all I had was a Ram 1500 and I invested all my time and money into, at the time, the LLC, the logo, getting everything set up on the administrative side because I didn't want to go back and deal with that. So I wanted to get that knocked out the way first. Got that. I didn't have any equipment. The hurricane just blew through my town, and I had everything I needed approved for the LLC, all that stuff. And I went door knocking after the hurricane blew through. Ended up knocking on this apartment door, and it happened to be the owner of the whole complex. And I was like, hey ma'am, you know, I noticed your trees are screwed up out here and there's debris everywhere. Is there any way that I can trim them up or clean them up for you? She's like, yeah, absolutely. You know, give me a quote. And at the time, I didn't know how to quote. I didn't know what I was charging. I was just watching Keith's videos, and I took in a couple tips that actually helped me out in the long run. I charged her $600 for that job, and it took me probably, you know, a good day to do it. But I took in a tip that I learned from your video, which jump-started me. And it was to always collect a deposit, you know, before you start the job. And that's how I got enough money to buy the chainsaw to actually do the job. And it wasn't even the right chainsaw either, right? So the job was $600. I got a 50% deposit, so she gave me $300. I have no equipment at this point. I do my research on what saw to buy. I bought, you know, a two-handed 20-inch Echo chainsaw, and I was cutting up these trees on a ladder, trimming them with a 20-inch two-handed saw.
Don't do that.
And wrong saw for the job, but after the job, I had the chainsaw and had $300 in my pocket. So now I actually have a piece of equipment, and I have money in my pocket to now go and figure out what equipment I need for the next project, or, you know, just to reinvest back into t-shirts or a hat or something, you know. And then that's where it all started. The rest was history from there. So,
and that's awesome. So, and back to my question again, from the point when you started doing $3,000 to $7,000 jobs,
yeah,
what was that transition like to where you started jumping up to $20,000 and $30,000 hardscape jobs?
Yep.
How did you make that specific leap?
Jump. Yeah, absolutely. It was really all the sales tactics and just sales training that I learned from Grant's, like boot camps, going to those. because a lot of people, you're going into it from what you learn from other people, and that might not be the best training, you know. And with Grant's system and basically everything he promotes in his programs and whatnot, it offers a sort of a base, like how you go to school to learn something. It was like a school for sales, you know. And I just learned how to get really good at selling myself and my company and my products, and charging more. That was another thing I picked up from you, is not booking myself up and just being completely slam packed with work with low profit jobs, because I would give you like the lowest price just to get the job, you know. I started to charge more and was in a position to where I could deny jobs, and I've denied a lot more than I've actually got. But you know, my schedule and my job portfolio is booked out with high profit work. So I went from the sales training and all that stuff. That was really what helped jump from that really $500 to $1,000 project, maybe $500 to $3,000 project range. And at the time, with my first $3,000 project, it was like everything in the world to me. And you know, it's like, it was like how the $600 job was. When I first got that $600 job, I was like, you know, nothing else matters. I was like, you know, so pumped to actually get the job done. But then it turned into $3,000 and then $5,000, and then I closed my first $10,000 job. And this is learning tips along the way from people that are doing better than me. Closed my first $10,000 job, and then a week later, I closed a client on the spot in another city. Within 30 minutes of meeting him, I closed him for $22,000 on paper.
Let's go, dude.
And then it was crazy from there, because
That's
I knew
sweet.
what I was capable of after I closed that first deal.
You knew what you were capable of because you did it.
Yep.
And you had the results.
Yep.
That's sweet.
So it was definitely a big jump from there.
Is these moments where you like question your worth, but then you actually go out and do the thing, you have the results, and now it's irrefutable. You can't even deny because you just did it and you're doing it, and then you like level up, right?
There's no excuses at that point.
That's dope.
Because a lot of the time we like to give ourselves excuses or let the other side of our head talk us out of certain things. And but once you actually put yourself there and you do it, now it's all about how can I repeat this as many times as possible, you know, and get better at it too. You will progressively get better at it.
That's sweet. And now what's like the biggest jobs you're closing right now and getting them all done?
I've had a couple like $50 to $60, maybe $70,000 jobs on the line, and those are still, you know, I'm waiting to hear back from them. But my biggest job to this date was probably around $40,000. And for me, I see all these other guys that I'm around, younger guys too, that are doing, you know, $100,000, $200,000 projects.
Who are those two kids you were telling me? Well, they're teenagers. They're like 17. You were bragging about these guys?
Yeah, so it's they're 16, 17 years old. They actually joined this group that I was a part of when they were 15. Started with a four-wheeler and pulling a little trailer on the back with a lawnmower. And they went from that to now having, you know, 8, 9 trucks, you know, 13 to 15 employees, all without having their license to start too. They just used the resources. It was like kind of like chess, you know, it's a game of chess, not checkers. And just, you know, knowing the secrets that you learn from being around other people.
That's sweet.
But they went from that to last year, I think they closed roughly around $2 million in sales. And
That's
then
amazing.
They're on their way now to do $5 million in sales.
So you have all this proof around you because you congregate.
Yep.
You congregate with people that are doing this every day.
Yep.
So
And it makes me feel like I'm not doing anything, because these younger guys are, you know, doing way more than me. But one thing that I've noticed is they are less distracted, you know, and they don't have as much habits that I've, you know, grown up, you know, creating for myself. So they have, when they started young doing that and being around people like I'm around, they have all the time in the world to focus on their craft and not be distracted by girls or drugs or alcohol or video games or movies. Like, they just focus all their attention on going to those events and being around people that are doing better than them. And it really cuts out a lot of time that they have to learn. You know what I'm saying? Going through all the habits and bad experiences and all that stuff. That's really helpful.
that's a huge point. And there's a saying that I love: where you will be in 5 years is directly associated or correlated with the people you associate with, the books that you read, and the difficult conversations you're willing to have. Whether that's being with, telling people around you no, or healthy boundaries, or having conversations with clients. And
Yep.
It's like, that's so true, man. So what's this thing, you see you're doing multiple businesses now, you got this no limit network.
Yep.
Tell me about that, that's sweet.
Yeah, there's a couple things going
I
on.
saw you doing real estate too on Instagram.
Yep.
You are closing deals and
yeah,
rehabbing houses, man.
and it's all about learning from the people that are doing more than me. I mean, that's all it is, just studying people that are more successful than you are, and then modeling them or taking in these pieces of information and then inputting it, making your own thing out of it. But a couple different businesses that I have going on. The business side of things, I have the lawn and landscape company, which I've done very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my eyes, I've done very well in the short amount of time that I started it. Went from not knowing anything about business, not knowing anything about sales, not knowing anything about real estate 3.5 years ago, to now I have a business it's already produced multiple 6 figures, and it's now on its way to reach a 7-figure mark. The second business that I have, which is a junk removal and dumpster rental company, you know, I just threw down big on that. The setup that I invested, you know, no risk, no reward. The setup that I invested on that business cost 60 grand. And in the back of my head, there's that thought, is this gonna work or not? You know? But I have faith in myself and my ability from what I've proved myself into the other company that it's gonna work tenfold, and I'm gonna need more dumpsters, and I'm gonna need more people and more trucks, and I just know where it's gonna go. So that's the other business that I have. And then I got some real estate, and then the no limit. So business, real estate, and then my brand. And basically the real estate side of things it's all multifamily. And I actually learned how to buy that deal through watching Grant's videos. You know,
For free on YouTube.
For free on YouTube, late at night.
Grant Cardone.
2-3 in the morning, just watching all of his videos. And I actually learned how to buy the first deal that I bought. And he just preaching it, and clicked. And
you know what sold me on Grant Cardone? This was way back in 2014 or 15. I don't know what happened, but he ended up in the hospital for a couple days. And I think he had an IV in his arm, but he had a real estate deal to go close. And they're like, no, you can't leave. He's like, no, I got a deal to close. He took the IV out of his arm and he went out, he closed the deal, and then came back into the hospital bed, and the doctors, they all thought he was crazy. And he went on Facebook and he's like, who's got my money?
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude he's raw, he's authentic, and yeah.
Just like you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So how can people find you, man?
So I'm on Instagram,
Yep.
Dylan_Brannon.
I'll put links below.
Brannon. That's on Instagram. Dylan Brannon on Facebook, and then also Dylan Brannon on YouTube. And the business brand, or the brand that I've created, it's basically like a lifestyle business type real estate brand, where I coach people that are anywhere from 15 years old to 25. That's really the main people who contact me. But even people that are 30, 35, 40, 50 years old, my parents' friends, people that never been exposed to what I'm learning, and they're learning too. And basically I teach them how to go from having no job to getting a 9-to-5, and then go from a 9-to-5 to starting your own business, and then generate that business to a 6-figure company within the first year, and then hopefully a 7-figure company in year 2, year 3. But ultimately, once you get the businesses where you want them to go, then you take the extra capital and then you invest it into the multifamily real estate, which is on the back end. It's the long-term wealth. You can get rich selling real estate, and you can get rich off businesses and whatnot, but ultimately you'll become wealthy by buying real estate or buying a long-term asset, cash-producing asset on the back end. So it's 9-to-5 business, and then real estate, and then just you have your business and real estate, and they go hand in hand together. Because the more money you make on your businesses, the more money you can invest into real estate, which you can grow your portfolio. And like what Grant says is cash is shit. And this is something that shocked me, because I've been raised growing up thinking that cash is everything. Cash is not everything. Cash flow is everything. Monthly residual income, daily, weekly, monthly, any sort of income that comes in on a residual basis.
Dude, he is so informed.
Is king, So.
I like every time I see Dylan, whether we're at the GIE Expo or some mastermind event, he's not complaining about things that aren't working. He's just talking about the great information that he's getting and how he's doing this thing that's going to work. Like, even if you haven't done it yet, you already know that's what you're doing, and you're doing it. And every time I run into you, you've done it.
Yeah.
And that's that no limit mentality, bro.
Absolutely.
What to close up here, what's like a piece of advice you would give for a guy he's stuck and he's like, it's not working, I don't see how I'm going to make this work, it's impossible. How do they make that become a possibility in their brain so they can get it like you're doing it?
Get around people that are doing better than you. Simple as that. Whether you have to pay for it, or whether you can go up to your local network.
He said whether you have to pay for it, right?
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I want to add something to this, because paying for it, most people, they think it's a lot of money, but when you realize you can learn 30 years of information within 3 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour.
You compress time.
And that's what Grant talks about, is how can you shorten time? What it took somebody 20, 30, 40 years to learn, you can learn in 30 minutes to an hour, or 3 days to, a week. You can learn it, but you have to pay for it, because obviously it took them that much time to, get that information. They're not just going to give all of it out for free. So I've learned a lot of information for free, and I've also paid for a lot of information. I mean, one of the tickets that I bought for one of Grant's events was $5,000. 3.5 years ago, I could never even fathom spending $5,000 on a ticket just to go learn. Not on a piece of equipment, not on a business or anything, just to learn something. And ultimately, if I were going to leave somebody here with a piece of advice that they could, if they're stuck in that mindset, there's 3 of the best investments you can make, and this is in my case, is yourself, your business, and real estate. Everything else after that's extra, stocks, all that stuff. But the real solid stuff that you can never go wrong if you invest in, if you kind of know what you're doing, is yourself, which is your knowledge. You pay to go to events, you go to networking meetings. That's one thing that helped me talk better and learn how to explain myself a lot better in front of professionals and talk professionally, is getting in network groups in my local city. And then your businesses, investing in your business and getting more employees, buying equipment, trying to become more professional, collar, t-shirt,
with the button down.
Yeah, with the button down. But even with your guys, invest into your guys, because ultimately, as long as you invest into those 2 things, yourself and your business, ultimately you can't go wrong, because you're going to learn. Even if you make mistakes, those mistakes are very valuable. And
you know what? As this guy's talking, I actually see you standing in front of like a whiteboard with a group in front of you, and you actually teaching live. I see it the way you're moving your hands. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA.
Yeah.
You're gonna do that, aren't you?
Absolutely. It's funny, because we've already been getting content and stuff with that, and that's ultimately the goal there, is to be able to provide as much value as possible, to the guy that started just like where I was at. Like I said, 3.5 years ago, started with nothing, started with no knowledge of business, no knowledge of real estate, no knowledge at all. And another crazy thing, this is a shocker I'll throw in here, I don't have a GED. I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have a college degree. I don't have a real estate agent's license. I don't have a general contractor's license. But yet I was able to grow a business and generate, multiple 6 figures. I was able to buy a piece of real estate that's, more than I could think of. It's a little bit over $500,000 now. It was the piece of real estate that I bought. It produces me income, and I get to live for free. So it's, financial freedom. And I don't have any of those credentials that you're raised growing up to think that you need to become successful. So there's no excuse. You can literally start from zero, start from nothing with no credentials, and you can there is no limit. So you can go to the top. You can basically go to wherever you want. There is no limit.
All right. One more time, how can people find you? Dylan Brannon.
Yep. Instagram, Dylan_Brannon. Facebook, Dylan Brannon. YouTube, Dylan Brannon. And you guys can follow me on there for more content and more advice.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that case study. Dylan Brannon, all around lawn and landscape, Cape Canaveral, Florida. Jesus, Cape Canaveral, Florida. This dude is a straight up savage. And also he has humility, He's a student, and he's already moving into contribution, which is like the highest level you can do at 24. Proud of you, dog.
Appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure.
You guys go out there and get it and crush it. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Peace.
What's up, dog? We got the young hustler. He's back. He's not 15 anymore. Now he's 36. How old are you?
19.
He's 19 now. He's crushing it. Look at his nice truck. He called me out. You got a lawn care and landscape business, but those trees behind us, you need a quote for those. So anyways, I was just talking to him about the employee issue. And what were you saying, bro, this year, 2021?
So our lowest paid guy right now is mid-16s making per hour. And there's just no one that wants to work anymore, I guess, right? I mean, we're staying optimistic on the whole situation. But this whole unemployment thing right now, it's really not helping us at all, because I have guys that bust their ass and work 50 hours a week that are still making less than someone sitting at home that are capable to work. And a big thing with it is, we have some really good guys, and we try to come to them and say, hey, we'll give you an incentive to get some more employees over here. And what they say is they say, yeah, they can come back when these benefits end, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, have some pride, get back to work, right?
I'm hiring a new guy tomorrow for a trial run.
Yeah.
And then if it works out, just literally a day or two, and if it works out, he's going to sign everything and put them on the books. But I mean, I've got ads out on, I just took my ad off of ZipRecruiter, and I've even went on, Facebook, social media, and even looked on Craigslist, and I see guys literally, or anybody putting, I will work for cash only.
Yeah, cash
no
only.
W-2,
none of that. That's the kicker to it, right?
Yeah, and I just can't do that. So.
First, I don't think anyone can. So, it's one of those things. I think we'll all get through it, though. Hold on to your good guys. That's all I can say, because poaching's real right now.
Yeah.
So you got to hold on to your good guys. Treat them good, and they'll stay. Right, take care of them.
Sure, man. 2021, bro.
I know. We'll get through it.
There is no workforce. There's a big company here in Michigan. I can't say the name, but they've got a couple hundred employees, and I guess they're literally down 50 guys right now.
Oh, I know. A lot of some are a couple of our good buddies, they own bigger companies. They didn't get a lot of their H-2B guys this year. It's a lottery system, so when that happens and you're doing, what they're doing in revenue, and 30 guys don't show up, and that's a big hit. I mean, it's bad enough for us being 4 or 5 guys short right now. After I feel that pain, feel that amplified by 10, right?
Oh yeah,
being 50
dude.
guys short.
Yep.
I mean, that's truck sitting in the yard that you're still paying on, right?
Yes.
Not moving. So, I think
Crazy.
Depending on any size of your business, I think we're all feeling the employee shortage issue right now. It's taking a big toll, but I think we'll get through it. Hopefully when these benefits end, we get a lot of good guys that want to come back to work. I think that's the most important part, right?
Absolutely, dude.
I think we'll get it.
Man, well spoken, bro.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. We got to have this guy on the podcast, Joey DeGrande. What's the name of your business?
J&J Landscaping.
How old are you when you started your business?
2014.
12 years old. Him and his friend were literally, were you like pushing a wagon around?
No, we had a zero turn. Well, that's how it started, but we had a zero turn with the mower on the back, and then now we run 4 crews. We got we should have 12 guys, but right now we currently only have 8 because we're 4 guys short, but so that's the biggest thing.
Good for you, man. All right, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments below if your experience of the labor shortage as well. What's going on in your business, so we can all learn from it in the comments below. And I'll see you.
And that's your forecast for the first official day of summer. Summer's short, so get out there and enjoy yourselves.
a job to do and you need parts and supplies the same day? Xmark's got you covered. No more waiting online, hoping and crossing your fingers for that delivery to show up. Our parts are available at your local dealer. From oil to belts to blades, we've got it all to help get you back on track. That's just one reason why Xmark is trusted 2-1 over the competition. Xmark, get on with your summer.
See the shovel? Back when I was mid-20s, I was broke. I worked a dead-end lawn care and landscaping job. I hated my life. I lived in a crappy little apartment. I was in debt. I got the chance to hang out with an entrepreneur who was a multi-millionaire. He owned tons of real estate and businesses. I think he said it was worth $27 million. I went to his house. The guy had a stable and horses and all this stuff. Very lucky to spend a day hanging out with this guy. I said, I want to start a business, but I'm broke. I don't have any money. He goes, you don't need money to start a business. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Now, I'm telling him he's out of his mind because I want to start a landscape business and I need like 20 grand. How am I going to afford all this equipment? You see this shovel? This guy came up and got in my face. He was maybe a 55-year-old man. And I'm like a young cat. You want to know how to start a business? You want to start a landscaping business? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you go to Home Depot, you get a shovel, and start effing knocking on doors. Get a shovel and go start knocking on doors. And I'm like, all right, this guy's nuts. He's out of his mind. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just trying to be a showboaty rich guy and thinks I'm just a kid. And I left that day and I was angry, and I thought about that for many, many days and many nights. And I went back to my piece of crap, dead-end job, making $12 an hour. I was miserable. A year and a half later, I'm on a property working. It was a high-profile client. I couldn't dig anymore. I'm digging. Check this out. I'm digging. We're doing like luxury garden bed maintenance and planting, okay? I'm edging out a garden bed. Edging out this, we're doing an entire complex. My feet are covered in bruises, even though I'm wearing steel-toed boots. It was 100 degrees out, and that's all I did. I was a slave at this job. It was a secure job, but I was better than that, dude. I was dying inside to the point where I had no choice because I had bills to pay. And there comes a point, I ain't even gonna lie, there comes a point, and this is some of the best, it's rock bottom. I knew it that morning when I went to work. I can't do this anymore. But this is a different type of I can't do this anymore. Because like I got a friend named Joshua Latimer. He does coaching. He's built a several million-dollar business, but he coaches people. And he said something. One guy on the phone said, "I'm at the end of my rope." One of his mentees. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this one more year. I can't do this. I'm burned out. I'm just dying inside. And Joshua says to him, he goes, "Don't feed me that crap. You can do this for 10 more years. Dealing with this suffering and with it. You're telling yourself you can't do it, but you could actually go through this for about 10 more years and you'll be saying the same thing. You think you're at the end of your rope and you can't do it no more. You're just crying, bitching, whining, and complaining." So I'm kicking the shovel, and all of a sudden this feeling comes through my body. Well, actually, my body became void of feeling. All the energy, all of my hope, everything, something just drained out of my body, and I dropped the shovel. I ain't even playing, dude. Look, like this. I don't want to be too loud in Home Depot, but dropped the shovel, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm already dead. I'm already dying inside. My fucking life isn't going anywhere. I'm already dead. I've been in this same spot for 5 years, and I'm already dead. So at this point, taking a risk and taking a chance, I'm all in the middle of Home Depot right now.
taking a risk and taking a chance isn't really taking a chance anymore, because I've already taken the biggest risk of all. And I've lost, and I'm losing in life because I'm still working this fucking dead-end job. And at this point, if I quit this very minute and I just went and walked and just found anything or started something, it would be better than this shit show. And I had to take full responsibility for the decisions that I had made and my sticking my head in the sand all the way up to that point. But I had bills to pay. It's true. It was like the decision had been made for me. I put the shovel down. A week later, I got fired from that job. Because, you know, like, it's like a bad relationship. I don't know, this is a little personal, but I was in a bad relationship one time when I was a young guy. And I didn't have the power to get out of it. I came from like a broken family, right? And I literally dropped to my knees and I prayed to God. I said, God, I don't have the power to get out of this, and I'm dying inside. I need you now to take me out of this situation, because I literally can't do it. A week later, I was out of that situation. It hurt a little bit, but boom, I was out. I had like literally just boomed, like exploded into a different paradigm of life. And now I'm looking at the other side. It's like in a movie, like the Stargate. Like, you all of a sudden, you're like, oh, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm fucking alive, dude. And I started my own fucking business with nothing, out of the back of my wife's car, the trunk of my wife's car, with paper bags from Lowe's. Sorry, Home Depot. Literally with ads on Craigslist, and I was going around pulling people's weeds. I didn't care about my pride anymore. I didn't care. It didn't matter. I was pulling people's weeds, making money, and I built a 6-figure business out of nothing. You know how I did it? You want to know how I did it? I went to Home Depot, and I picked up a fucking shovel, and I started knocking on doors. That's how I fucking did it. You know, I just gave someone a quote, and it was $1,650. And the customer was like, well, somebody else gave us a quote for $350. And I was like, well, I don't know. It's going to cost me $1,250 just to actually do the job. That's without me making any profit off it. So I don't understand what that other company was quoting you, but I've been doing this a long time, and I'm telling you, it's $1,650.
Well, another company gave me a quote for $350. $350.
So I'm going to share with you something very simple about raising your prices, but this will give you the reason why. So you'll have a scientific reason that can override your emotions. For instance, let's just say you give a customer a price, and sometimes you'll buckle and you keep doing it for the cheaper price. Maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe you're having a day where your confidence isn't high, right? Emotions and feelings go up and down. Maybe you didn't get proper sleep, and you buckle and you give a lower price than you want to in your heart, right? Because your heart says one thing, but your head says another thing. You know, looking at my business, I actually have to have a $337.50 minimum, or $74 per billable man hour to show up to do anything. That's minimum, right? I'd rather make $100 a man hour and have a $650 minimum to do anything. And when you kind of look at, like I was drawing this yesterday in the truck. I'm on a job site right now, so I only have a minute. But see this, I drew like this grid. And you can superimpose this on a map of your city. I'm saying, okay, I have a 6-mile radius. Well, what are the names of those streets for my city? And stick with me here. I can't go south of 16 Mile. In Michigan, in the metropolis where I live by Metro Detroit, there's like 15 Mile, 16 Mile, 17 Mile, 18 Mile, and all the way down to like 6 Mile you're in Detroit. And it's interesting, but I can't go west of DeQuinder, and I can't go east of North Avenue, and I can't go north of 26 Mile. That's my 6-mile radius. Why? Because it's non-billable hours commuting from job site to job site. Now, if you have lawn care and you're like a sewing machine through neighborhoods, it's a different story. But every time you have to load that thing up or load the equipment onto the truck and trailer, then back off, that's time that can, you get what I'm saying here. So when I'm saying the $337.50, I'm being very scrupulous about that. And over the past couple years, I've hired a bookkeeper, and I've paid a couple grand to meticulously go through my numbers, my finances, my books. We've produced P&L statements, and I know every penny in and out of my business and exactly what's going on. And what it's allowing me to do, it's the greatest investment ever, is because it's allowing me to look at the business and see what my emotions can't, what your emotions can't. And so when you give a customer a price, like I just lost a customer about 10 minutes ago, probably permanently, and because we've had to raise the prices every single year. This customer happens to be 8 miles away, which is 2 miles outside of my service area. That's fine if it's $1,000 or $1,200 plus job. We have a $1,200 day rate to come out for a whole day. I'll talk about that in a different video. But this is like, window cleaning and gutter cleaning. And the customer is the greatest customer ever, and it's hard to do this. But when I raise the price to this new scientific minimum, because you can't just raise the prices on the customer like 50% overnight. To all your original customers that have been grandfathered in, you have to do it in like 10 to 15% incremental raises so it doesn't shock them, and then a rising tide raises all boats. Well, with me, and hopefully with you, if you have enough marketing going on and enough positive reviews, and you have enough to where your phone is ringing off the hook, and you can look at the spread. How far out are you booked? How much opportunity and deal flow is coming into your business? How much can you afford to say no to? Because it goes on a gradient, and if there's a slider, okay, I can actually start to afford to saying no. Maybe you cut grass. We have a new $40 minimum for all new customers. All existing customers are getting a 10% price increase. It could be a 20% pricing, I don't know. And all new customers is a $40 minimum, period. And I guess the only exception to that would be, let's say, whatever service you're providing is if it's like literally right next door in the same neighborhood as your existing customer, and you can bang them both out at the same time. You get what I'm saying? Because these rules can be broken. For me, of course, I'll go next door and I'll trim some customers a little ornamental tree for $250 because it's literally right next door. You'd be stupid to not do that. In this green industry, I believe 50% of your entire clientele is going to come from neighbors walking up and wanting theirs done too, because they can actually see the results in advance. They can see what's going on. That's why work creates work. Some of these guys email me and like, dude, I'm afraid to go full-time in my business. How do I quit my job and go full-time in my business? I'm afraid there's not going to be enough work. And I'll tell you, the funniest thing happens as soon as you take that time if you did have a job or you're doing something else and you replace it, and now you are out in the field where more customers can see you. As long as you've got like magnets on the doors and you got business cards and something where they can look out the window and get a phone number and they can see it, it's all downhill from there, which means that a neighbor can walk up. So you can be doing a job maybe that you don't even want to be at. You need to be doing that for a higher price. You're upset. But a neighbor can walk up, and then you'll do a job for the neighbor, and then the neighbor behind their fence, and your neighbor's, the customer's neighbor's backyard neighbor comes up and say, hey, I got all this, can you do mine too? And that customer leads you to like 8 more customers, which 3 of them become permanent clients. And one of them becomes a super client who is like your best paying client of all time. That's how this works. If you kind of study like networking and network marketing, and I like to listen to a lot of audiobooks while reading, you have to have this optimistic type of attitude, because things will show up in your favor. Like the universe is in your favor. The law of abundance is here. If you look at the way a flower grows, or the petals, or how everything grows and expands, it's all here to serve you and help you. So your job is not, let me repeat, your job is not to scratch and claw your way to success. Your job is to develop some structure and frameworks in your business around the way you systematize and price your business, so you can deal with all the opportunity coming in. Your job is the skill of managing opportunity. And I think about like ice cubes in an ice cubes tray. There's like 12 little compartments, and if you let like the water flow into one, it'll eventually fill all of them. Once that ice cube tray is full, well, you either got to get another ice cube tray, or it starts spilling all down the sink. Well, what if you could expand that to like 36 compartments, or 48? Or what if instead of having 48 little cubes, you made it like 6 bigger cubes, so you're not jumping around from every single one? You are in total control of this based off of, if you can learn your numbers. And how do you do that? I don't know if you say it. Make a rule. For me, I do Saturday finances. Every Saturday I wake up. First thing I do, I kiss my wife, we make a pot of coffee, and she knows, everybody knows, don't bug me on Saturday. And I'll spend sometimes as little as an hour, all the way up to 4 hours, doing all the finances and going through all my numbers and stuff like that, talking back and forth with my bookkeeper. And it's been the most life-changing, gratifying thing, because I'm an emotional person. I can get frustrated, and it blocks my ability to see clearly. If you take an IQ test, I'll put a link below if I find the name of it. It's awesome. I score brilliant levels in creativity and emotional intelligence. I'm borderline genius in an IQ test. But when you go to like spatial intelligence, which is called spatial IQ, it's your ability, it's almost like it's an entrepreneurial, sometimes a skill. It doesn't always have to be, but it's your ability to see things for the way that they are. Like the first time you see them, you can see the world and things for the way they are without being stuck. In that, I score complete moron. And I'm like, oh, that's the answer why, right? You can be a creature of habit, where you have this bubble in this ecosystem where you have to actually like go do something and like feel the happiness or the pain, or how does it make you feel, in order to, like, you got to see the metrics of it. But some people that are entrepreneurs that are very, very fortunate, they can literally just lash out and go do something and immediately start getting their hands into it and excelling forward very quickly. It's because they have higher spatial IQ. They can see things for what they are and assess them properly. I have a guy who works for me, and he's actually on the job site right now. He does not like being on the videos. He's worked for me forever. He's an awesome guy. He's very smart. He just doesn't like being on videos. He's so smart. I can come to him with any scenario or situation if I'm a little like frazzled, and I'm like, bro, give me a second. What do you think about all this and this? And I'm kind of pissed off, and like, what do you? And this dude can literally just be like, oh, it's really simple, Kalfas. And he'll synthesize the information to give it back to me in such a pragmatic, practical, simplified way that I just go, I hate you. Because he's completely unattached, and it's just, it's called bottom line thinking is what it is. All right, that's the end of this video. Know your numbers, raise your prices, have some guts and glory. There's something that I wrote down. There's 2 things I wrote down. I'm gonna put this in the beginning of the next video. I'm so fired up. As you grow in your moral strength and wisdom, it becomes proportionately, increasingly more difficult to run a bottom feeder business. As you grow in your moral strength and your wisdom, it becomes more and more difficult to run a bottom feeder business. You just can't do it. And then the other thing was, I ain't even going to tell you what the other thing was. I have a brand new course. It's called High Profit Landscape Maintenance Secrets. Click the link in the description below this video to check it out. It will show you all the stuff that you're not going to see on YouTube. Yo, it's raining, and in this video I want to talk about my thoughts about rain because I'm sitting in the truck right now holding off driving to a job site and starting the day because I'm looking at the weather and there's more rain coming. What are your thoughts about rain? I have a very interesting perspective. I think it's based off of your paradigm as well. If it's pouring rain, obviously you can't work. But if it's a light rain, can you still work? You know, what I mean is, when I needed the money so bad that I didn't have a choice, I bought a raincoat and I was working in the rain. And at times when it was straight up raining hard, like a consistent steady rain, I didn't expect anybody else to, do it, but I was doing it. So I would just go out and work by myself in the rain. And there's this amazing story that Richard Sutphin told. He's like a Zen philosopher on this audiobook I was listening to. He said him and his wife had taken a trip to some other country for a vacation. And that it was a long-awaited vacation. And when they finally got there, and it rained the entire week that they were there. And at first, him and his wife were upset because they had planned like 2 years to go on this vacation. And part of the trip was like hiking through the mountains and backpacking and doing all types of cool outdoor activities. And he said that it was raining so hard in this tropical place that they were just drenched and dripping in water. And it was completely miserable. By the second day, at one point, him and his wife looked at each other and they both cracked up laughing. And he said that they were laughing so hard that it became fun and exhilarating. And then he said it was raining so hard that they were sleeping in a tent and the rain was gushing against the tent and actually got into the tent and filled up a whole puddle of water in the corner of the tent. And they were like tucking their legs up just so they could sleep. And he said that because they changed their paradigm and their perspective, it became the most fun and exciting vacation that they ever took in their life, and they loved it. And they woke up the next morning and they went hiking through the mud and they were just in the rain the whole time and they were laughing, and they said it was like an amazing experience. So the moral of the story is like, how do you perceive this? If you look at it as, obviously you can perceive it as it sucks to work out in the rain and get sopping wet and you can get sick and you can be a victim. But I think as long as what you're doing isn't hurting your customer's property or leaving ruts, I know obviously if you cut grass and you can't leave ruts in people's property, but there's a lot of things that you can do. And think about all that revenue you'd be missing out on. Oh, excuse me. Rain is it's a huge chunk. If it rains, I don't know, let's say you get one rain day every 2 weeks. So that's twice a month, 2 to 3 times a month that you have rain days if it rains pretty hard and where you're at in the season. And I don't know, let's just say you do $1,000 a day in revenue. I don't know. That's $3,000 a month in revenue. If you work 8 to 9 months out of the season, let's just say six for 6 months you have this. 3 times 6 is $18,000 in revenue. So $18,000 in revenue could possibly change your life or get it to the next level. I don't know where you're at. Some people can go make $18,000 in a week. It just depends on where you're at. But if you look at it from that perspective, then just going out and hustling and working in a light rain every day can be fun, and it can give you this like badge of honor and courage, like, sucker, we work in the rain. But then you get to the point where you just don't care. You just go to work every day and you have no emotion or whether or not, or you don't care if it's raining. Now, if you have people that work for you that don't want to work in the rain, depending on their personality or how they feel, some won't care. And then some will actually hate you and resent you for it and play a victim. It all just depends. But anyways, let me know your thoughts about working in the rain. I'm holding off here. I keep checking the weather. It looks like we got storms coming. And let me know